The Angry Chicken is a production of A-Move TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. Want to support The Angry Chicken? Go to patreon.com/TAC to become a TAC patron. We'd like to thank everyone who's supporting us on Patreon. The Angry Chicken is also sponsored by DoghouseSystems.com. You can use the code TAC to get double memory on your next gaming PC and support The Angry Chicken in the process.
Well met.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft.
It's time for a little fun.
This is the Angry Chicken.
I hope you like my invention.
I'm gonna eat that. Reporting for duty.
Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to episode 25 of The Angry Chicken, a podcast about Hearthstone. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, and I am joined, as always, by Willie Dills Gregory and the returning Jocelyn Moffat. Jocelyn, welcome back,
Yay.
you skipper that clearly missed the show because you're just lazy and there's no other reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
That is just unfair. Although,
Lazy
to
Canadians.
be fair, if I was going to miss any show, it should have been this week, because it turns out that the nurses are actually going to walk off the job tomorrow, not last
Whoa.
Tuesday. But I'm just
Oh.
like, I don't even care.
Wonderful.
I don't even
No.
care.
You have a stressful job. We
I
haven't
do
talked.
have a stressful job.
We don't mention it much on the show because the show is about the things we do outside of our stressful jobs. But yeah, you do have like a legitimately, at times, bullshitty, stressful job.
It can be pretty intense. So yeah, I had to work a whole lot last week to prepare for something like this, and then it didn't actually happen, but it's supposed to happen tomorrow. So I was like, you know what?
Well-
I need happy tack thoughts.
Well, good on you for being a good employee and doing what needed to be done, even though may not necessarily have needed to be done.
Not at that time.
Yeah, at that time. So cool. Well, welcome back, Jocelyn. It's great to have you back. There was a Canadian-sized hole in our show last week that could only be filled by really bad references to South Park, Canada, and God knows what else.
Yeah.
I heard
We
you
didn't
guys
talk
had
about
an
Eye for an Eye at all.
interesting episode. Yes, you did. Eye for an Eye definitely came up at least once.
Oh, maybe. Maybe.
So you haven't heard last week's episode then?
I did. I listened to last
Oh,
week's
okay.
episode, and that's
Oh.
why I know it came up at least once.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. The most fun, I think, was had after the outro music. I think that's when we had the most fun.
That
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it
a
was
Q&A
a really
session,
great episode.
Yeah, we just took some Q&A from the chat room, which if we have time, we'll do again today.
Yay.
And had a good time. Got called queers. That was really fun.
Yes, I heard that as well.
It's nothing more
It's,
fun
yeah,
than
it's now part of the Angry Chicken canon. But
we have had multiple people addressing us as
Yeah.
queers in emails this week as a joke, and one of them I think made the show today.
I really like that there's like continual jokes that just pop up in all the emails people send us. Like they're really
They're
paying attention.
personal,
our fans.
like self-involved memes. It's like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
memes for our little corner of the internet.
Yeah, I love it. It really shows that people are listening hard to what we're saying. So appreciate it, you guys.
Listening hard.
They listen so hard they listen.
So hard all the time. Oh my god. That's great.
Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that alone. Look how mature I'm being, guys. Look how mature.
I'm excited right now though because this is the eve of season 1, and I'm like in full on what deck am I gonna play tomorrow mode. I'm gonna do it this time.
All right,
I'm gonna go for it.
Well, you just put yourself on the spot. I didn't have to do it for you. What deck are you playing tomorrow, Dills? What deck are you going to ascend the ranks with?
Well, I'm actually probably gonna play a lot of Hunter. I think Hunter right now. We'll talk about it in strategy, but I think Hunter right now has the best matchups kind of across the board. It's just kind of generally good. It can win against everybody. And my TV just decided to turn on me. That was weird.
That's
All right.
creepy as hell.
It's really creepy.
I have a ghost in my house. But yeah, so I think I'm probably gonna play a lot of Hunter, and then it'll be Druid and Control Warrior outside of that. So as soon as like Hunter stops working, we'll start to.
So you've got your three. You have options.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
I'm gonna start to kind of wedge in the druid, and then I'll switch over to.
So if this was
control warrior, if I face a lot of
a
hunters.
Spartan phalanx, your hunter would be in the front middle, and then the warrior and the druid would be taking the back right and back left.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I just feel like getting through those early ranks, I just need to do it quickly, and hunter's going to give me the best chance to do that, and then it's going to, inevitably slow down.
You should be starting pretty, like, not high, but you should be somewhere in and around like 20-ish, 21. Or higher, maybe.
Exactly sure. I'll have to go consult the chart on that one.
Yeah,
But...
I was gonna say, yeah. What rank are you at right now? Because isn't it like legend and then 1 and 2? Yeah, so you'll probably be around 18 when you start. So you may not even need a hunter deck.
That's a good point. But I still think that it gives me the best chance to get like through those initial ones. And once I get to like 5, that's when you really start to have to play like a solid control deck, I think, because then you start to play the other control decks. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to actually making a real run at it. I really stopped playing constructed this season and pretty much just did arena, just for like the last half of it, I'd say.
I've been doing a lot of.
It felt still like fake, It's like this is like preseason still,
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of games against friends, like way more than I used to. Which of course really do nothing for you other than they're fun as hell.
They're just fun,
right.
yeah. And then, of course, there's Heroes and Diablo, and so...
Yeah, so I finally got into Heroes. I'm really excited. That game's really freaking good, and I can feel Jocelyn's eye bullets just piercing the side of my skull right now.
Not eye bullets. I do not hate you. I am very jealous of your access because I want to play, and I'm really, really worried after like sitting in on your Skype call on Saturday night. I just think I'm going to be so far behind, and I'm going to start playing, and you guys are just going to be like way ahead, and I'm just going to like, oh.
No. First of all, you're already behind because me and Kyle have been playing MOBAs for a while.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I'm really
I
behind
kind of knew
Kyle's
some
been
of the
playing.
stuff you were talking about, but then at the same time, when you were like, "Oh, we have to get the coins because the ship and we're blah blah," and then he just ran away with all the coins. What a jerk! And I was like, "Oh, I would totally be running away with the coins."
Jocelyn, this was like this was just me sitting down with the maps alone for like an hour, and then I kind of knew what was going on. It's not super complicated.
No, as far as like MOBAs go, you'll be fine. Jumping into Dota was like going to college again. This is just like, hey, let's just go in and start playing. Let's just, kill some dudes.
And I've tried both. I've tried Dota and I've tried League, and I don't really like either one of them. Not so much for the gameplay, more for the people, and I also didn't like the tech trees. And the tech trees in Heroes seem to be more like picking what spells and stuff you're going to use, like what your powers are going to be, or abilities, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, well,
it buffs certain talents, or like when you get to your ultimate, you can decide one or the other, basically. So
yeah,
you'll.
But there's
you'll
no like boots plus boots equals other boots.
I'm trying so hard not to get too deep into this because this is clearly a show about Hearthstone. I've just been playing. I got into Heroes this past week, so I played. But yeah, it's really cool. The tech trees are great. You can actually mold your hero depending on the situation or depending on your team makeup or your opponent's team makeup. So yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Stuff.
If I eventually get in, then hooray! And until then, I will just keep watching you guys and being jealous.
Somebody out there listening who has the power, get Jocelyn in the alpha, please. We want to play with her.
Yeah, we want to play with her real bad. That sounded weird, but yeah,
chat room will take it and run. We don't need to take it and run with it for them.
Yeah, I played a little bit yesterday with more Nova, and man, I love Nova. I'm hooked. The resetting triple tap. Oh man,
we just talked quite a bit about Heroes on A-Move Radio. If you guys want, for our podcast listeners, if you want to hear a lot of Heroes talk, or listen to episode 23 of A-Move Radio. But Kyle and Ben were singing your praises as Nova Dills.
Nice.
Yeah, they were just
nice.
like, oh,
I don't suck.
Because we were all talking about how much we hate playing against Nova, and Kyle was just like, but man, I love it when Dills is on our team as Nova. It's wonderful. It's good.
I'm gonna get good at it. I'm dedicated to Nova right now.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
I wish I was standing for that horn music. I'd like to dance every time, but I'm sitting. Anyways, it was announced this past week that there's going to be an iPad Media event on April 3rd pertaining to Hearthstone.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Yeah, this is according to Hearthstone.com. The event is going to be similar to the media event held in China last week, featuring usable iPad clients for the attendees. It is likely we will see an announcement of iPad launch at this event or very soon after.
It seems like we should. I mean, like there's now we've seen people playing on them. I played on it at BlizzCon. They did have a build available there, but this, I mean, it looks like it's done. So.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that we're very far off at this point.
Our
and I'm
PC
super
version
excited.
looks like it would work on an iPad, like almost 1-to-1. I don't see any. There's nothing about the interface that I'm like, oh, this is gonna have to be changed for iPad. That's gonna be. I think it's just all gonna work.
I think so too. I mean, pretty much the way they designed this game is like you can just port it right on over. But I'm sure there's like other bugs that come up and situations they have to fix. So
Absolutely.
But yeah, it feels like we're there. I predicted the first. Unfortunately, Nostradils was wrong on this one. It's going to be a little after, but
so very close.
I'm not off by much, you guys. I'm not off by much. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to long sessions in the bathroom with my iPad and Hearthstone. It's going to happen.
I don't
My
want to
legs
know
will
what the other part of that long session entails.
I'm
But...
talking about taking a bath, a bubble bath, you guys.
Oh,
Come on.
okay.
Okay.
That seems
With
really
candles and
dangerous
stuff?
to do with
Yeah.
a $500 piece of technology.
Yeah, I'm going to hold an iPad over open water and bubbles, and I'm going to.
The bubbles are
just
very important. We don't want to think
Yeah.
about dills in clear water.
I'm gonna have bubbles. I'm gonna have wine, and I'm gonna have like cheese and crackers. It's gonna be really romantic. Just me and the ladder.
You and Hearthstone?
Yeah.
Just nothing creepy about a grown man having a bubble bath by himself. Nothing creepy at all.
No,
Nothing at all.
totally normal.
No.
If Dills wants to pamper Dills, just let him.
Treat yourself.
I'm gonna have some me time right now. That's what I tell my roommates. Shut the door.
As long as you're not like listening to like Enya or something while you're doing it, I'll let
Ooh,
it pass.
that's a good idea. All right, I'm gonna have
That's
to
a
cue
great
that up.
idea.
Yeah.
So there's that. Really, we've talked about it at length on the show before. We want our damn iPad versions.
Yeah, and they actually show iPad Mini too. So people who have iPad Minis, it looks like it's gonna work right out the box for those as well. iPhone and Android and all that stuff is probably still a ways off because that will take some doing.
Yeah, that's going to take some finagling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the first step, and once this step is completed and everything is like smooth sailing, then it shouldn't be too much longer after that for the others. So
I will get nothing done once it's available on the phone.
I know it's on your.
Oh, I know, me
That's
too.
ridiculous.
I better find a way to start getting paid like a living wage from playing Hearthstone, because once it's on the phone, I'm not answering emails. I'm not getting work done. That is the end of all productivity as we know it.
All you need to do, Garrett, is average around like 10,000 to 15,000 viewers on Twitch, and you'll be good to go.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, it's
Dude,
pretty easy.
I had like 75 this past weekend streaming Heroes.
Man, dude, you're
Man,
close. You're almost there.
I don't have far to go at all.
Nope.
Moving on to things that are not fantasy lands. So yeah, we've been talking about the first season of Hearthstone is starting tomorrow. Just to reiterate this, the card backs are coming with the first season tomorrow. You will be able to earn your Pandaria themed, the Sun style card back that they showed at BlizzCon, and we've seen countless times since on the Hearthstone Facebook and on Hearthstone and all those websites. And to reiterate, I believe we mentioned this fact a couple weeks ago, you will have to at least attain rank 20 to earn that card back. But also remember, you can't lose ranks up until then. So
yeah, that basically just means playing for a certain amount of time. It
Right.
doesn't mean you have to be good at the game or not. You'll get there eventually. So
exactly, it helps to be good at the game, and hopefully
does,
we can help you be better at the game.
yeah, and so the only two that are going to be available are the Pandaria one and the Legend one, right? In this first season, like that's pretty much all we can earn so far.
Potentially.
Okay.
Unless
yeah, I think
there's the only thing, there's one, I think of one of the card backs said something about being tied to a special event, which if that's the iPad release and we get the iPad release in April, we might get a third card back.
Okay.
Oh, that's very
All right.
cool.
If.
I'm sure there'll be tons of events where they're handing out card backs. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they start dishing out with BlizzCon every year. Although I guess we just got a card last year, so there's no reason they couldn't just do cards. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'd like to see card backs with collector's editions.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
I'd be so jazzed if I got like a Diablo themed card back with
That would
my
be
Reaper
very
of
cool.
Souls, which is the other Blizzard game we're gonna try really really hard not to talk about this week.
I was just playing it.
I
right
bet you
before the
were.
show.
It's really fun.
It's like once I jump back in, I played a little bit with Jocelyn. It gets you.
It's
But
awesome.
tomorrow, I will be like pretty much exclusively Hearthstone for like a while. I'm gonna really make a concerted effort this season. So, if I don't make it to Legend, it's just because I suck at Hearthstone. So, if I don't
Not
make it
due to
Legend
lack
this
of effort.
season, yeah, I'm actually gonna. Well, I'm still not gonna be able to do like. So Trump just got to Legend with his free shaman, so now he's done it with a mage and a shaman. And he's like, oh man, I just proved that you can get to Legend with a free deck without spending a dime on Hearthstone. It's like, well, you also play, 8 hours a day while everyone else goes to work. So
That's the thing. Like, by the way, I think it was last week I mentioned some jerk was telling me I shouldn't host the show because of my rank.
Yes.
I did not, I don't even know why I brought it up, but I did not mention it so that everyone could have this outpouring of positive reaction to me. But it happened, and thank you all very much. There were some very kind words directed at me this week. But I think that's something that would have been a good discussion from that topic of last week, which is, what ranks you're at, which is Legend is really, a lot of it. Obviously, you have to be good at the game.
Yeah.
But time investment is a massive, massive portion of it as well. And it's the same thing in StarCraft too. If you want to get into Grandmaster, not only do you need to be amazing, but you need to be able to put some serious time into the game.
Yeah. Actually, Steelers Fever 07 just posted. It took him 190 wins. I was actually like kind of half watching his stream when he did hit Legend, and yeah, I mean that's a lot of wins. That's a lot of Hearthstone games. And, for me to even get 190 games in over the course of a month is actually kind of tough. So,
Right. Let alone, and that's just wins. We don't know how many losses there were, which I'm sure there were plenty.
there were a lot. Yeah. No, I mean, he bounced back and forth between ranks 2 and Legend for quite a while. And that's really where that final push is actually very, very difficult because everyone's playing good. So, it's not an easy thing, and he's definitely a talented player to be able to pull it off. But he also has the benefit of that being his job. So
Right, absolutely.
It's like he didn't really prove that like anybody can do it necessarily. Like I would like to see somebody try to do it, like playing 2 hours a day, and like
not
see if they
even,
can
and
pull it
not
off.
every day, like 4 days
Yeah.
a week, not on weekends.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it on a normal person schedule with a free deck.
I want a
and we'll
dude
see
who
if
has
we
a
can pull that
40-hour
off.
work week and a
And
full-time
a significant other,
and a full-time
maybe a
relationship.
kid or two. Yeah.
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 Maybe a kid or two. Just throw it into the
Yeah,
mix.
because I don't know about you guys, but every now and then when it's hour 6 of Heroes of the Storm, sometimes the girlfriend really wants to watch a show. And
Yeah.
and this
You
isn't
can
saying
watch TV
Chicks.
when you're playing games.
And
What's the problem?
Oh man.
and this isn't me going like, oh my god, my girlfriend dragging me away from games all the time. No, I love some television shows too, like Clone Wars is on Netflix right now and it's amazing, and True Detective is stealing my soul. And Cosmos is helping me wash the taste of True Detective out of my mouth so that I can actually go to sleep with hope and dreams. So yes, there's life and things and girlfriends. So
Yeah. He's living the dream though. That's his
Exactly.
job. Yeah.
anyways, that's awesome. So I mean, that is still a feat because one of the conversations that constantly goes around the Hearthstone water cooler is pay to win.
Pay to win,
You
yeah.
can't do this without spending any money, and clearly Trump has trumped that.
Yeah, I mean, he did prove that you can actually win the requisite number of games to get into the Legend ranking. So I mean, it still makes a point. It still makes a good point, and it still proves that he's a good player. And a couple other people have done it too. So he's not the first one, and I'm sure he won't be the last. People will still be. This is a nice little challenge for people who have maybe gotten Legend a bunch of times, and that's kind of off the plate of things they must do. To kind of like handicap themselves a little bit and go for it. So, yeah, congrats to Trump, man. It was cool. It was good to watch because he really did. He played very analytically, and he really kind of crafted a nice deck. Another thing it does is it actually gives people a deck that they can make. People who haven't spent a bunch of money and haven't played a whole bunch of Hearthstone yet. So it did a couple of good things for the community, I think. So, congrats to him.
Yep.
let's get into it. New season starts tomorrow, so I think now is the best time as ever to discuss some strategy.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
All right, so the first real season starts tomorrow. Dills, what did you bring for us today?
Well, what we're going to do... I'm muted, aren't I? No, I'm not. Okay.
No, you're not.
No, you're
The only thing more awkward than talking to
I
muted?
was muted, and then I was clicking around, and I was like, I don't think I unmuted, but I guess I did. I'm a wizard. All right, so if you listen to the show, that I really like Hearthstats. I think it's a great site. It's got the tool. It's still considered to be an alpha, but basically people are reporting their stats to this website, and it gives a nice little collection where you can kind of get a bit of a, just like an image of what the meta looked like for the month of March. So now that March is coming to a close, they actually put out their monthly report, and I think it's a good time to, right before this new season starts, to kind of go over for some of the listeners out there who are also going to be trying to make a real push at high ranking or legend or whatever their goals might be, kind of talk about what the meta looks like right now. So they posted this report that has constructed and arena. I think arena is, we could talk about it a little bit, but I'm going to focus more on the constructed side of things here because that's
it makes sense given that
yeah.
The first real constructed season starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Arena is impacted in no way, shape, or form.
No, yeah. Tomorrow's not going to change. And the funny thing about Arena is like the meta doesn't really shift the way it does in Constructed. I mean, Mage is just Mage, and it's just good. Even after all the nerfs, like Mage is just the best class in Arena.
Card evaluation stays very similar in Arena.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you're drafting random decks, you can't draft these combos that people find. You can't really go for an aggressive deck necessarily. I mean, you kind of can, but you might fall short. So basically, people end up with more of a control style deck, and the games are a little slower and stuff like that. And Mage is just really good because of Flame Strike and Fireball. I mean, that's kind of where it's at. Flame Strike is basically just a fat board clear that you can always rely on. It's a basic card, so Mages always have like four of them, and it's unfair. So, but one thing that, one thing that's funny that I noticed though is, you guys remember when this game, not when it first came out, when Rogue was ridiculous, but right after that first Rogue nerf, Priest was just like, everyone complained about Priest so much, like, oh god, they're so OP.
Yeah. We went to BlizzCon and they made a big deal of nerfing mind control.
Yeah. So it turns out that at this point, Priest is the worst no matter where you play it. Arena, Constructed. Priest is awful right now. 41% win rate in Arena and 43.5% in Constructed. That is really bad. So poor Priest. I know there's a lot of Priest players out there who really try to figure out how to make this work. I mean, they're actually like well known for being Priest players, like a Maz and Era and some of these guys, like they are just like convinced they're going to make this Priest happen. And some of them do, some of them actually get it done, but across the board, it's just the worst class. So I'm hoping that Blizzard is paying a lot of attention to this because I would like to see, if anything, Priest come up a little bit. It's like 4% lower than the next worst class in Constructed, which is Mage. Mm-hmm. So that's really bad.
The thing I would be curious about I can't imagine it'd be that much different, but I'd be really interested to see what Blizzard's numbers are, where they're looking at every player ever, not just people who opted into Hearthstats.
Well, that's the thing too, is that when you look at these Hearthstats stats, they're players who are probably a little more serious than your average player because they are using Hearthstats. You know what I mean? Just the fact that they're going out and using a site to keep track of their own play is it just points. It's like I would venture to say that people who listen to The Angry Chicken, people who listen to Turn 2, people who listen to all any Hearthstone related podcast are probably better on average than other people because they're seeking out information, right?
Yeah.
And just the fact that you're seeking out information probably means you're a better player. So you got to take these stats with a little bit of a grain of salt because that's definitely out there. But I'm sure Blizzard is aware that Priest is a problem right now. I mean, these stats can't be that far off, right?
Yeah.
So
The more interesting thing is the difference between Arena and Constructed is Mage in 8th out of 9th place and Constructed in a number 1 spot in Arena. That kind of turnaround is very interesting. Rogue is in 6th and it's in 2nd in Arena.
Yeah.
Paladin is in 7th, it's in 3rd in Arena.
That kind of movement around just it really points to the fact of decks that can play aggression better are going to move towards the top in Constructed because aggression is very, very strong. And in Arena, if you can't play control very well, you're going to move way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
So
it also shows you the sample size of games that it pulled from for each of these classes, and in both of these, Priests have the least amount of games just played, period.
Yeah, people are avoiding them, basically. They're actually, though, the most played class in Constructed is Warlock, which makes a lot of sense. And then you look at Arena, and it's the least played class. So it's like Warlock is just so different when you go from Constructed to Arena, and that's crazy to me. I really like a Warlock Arena. I think it is a little tougher to draft a good deck, but what you can do with Warlock in Arena is you can actually just never take card draw cards. So like you don't have to take stuff like Cult Master or Acolyte of Pain or any of that kind of stuff where the card itself actually is a little weaker because of the fact that it gives the card draw.
Yeah.
You can stay away from that and just draft nothing but good cards, right? And
of course, if you don't get good cards, then you're just kind of up shit's creek.
Yeah, exactly.
Then not only is your hero power hurting you, it's potentially drawing you the shitty cards that you were unfortunate enough to get.
Yeah, no, very, very, very true. And then, of course, also, I mean, when you're life tapping, you're losing life. So, I don't know. It's
life seems to be a slightly more valuable resource in Arena than Constructed.
Yeah,
just
true.
because
it's
of the way that format.
Because the game
goes.
is slower, so it's you slow bleed out sometimes, and yeah. What I'm curious to know, like Jocelyn, when you play Arena, what class do you think is the best, like for you personally?
It depends. I usually like Shaman actually in Arena. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know why. There's some classes I tend to gravitate to, and either usually Shaman or Hunter or Mage. Mage is just easy. Hunter easy because they just have decks that kind of mesh no matter what cards kind of
they can
come
always
up.
get damage on the hero too.
Yeah.
So
they seem a little bit easier to me in terms of like the cards that come up in the draw. I never pick Warrior or Rogue for anything ever. So
I really think Rogue is really strong in Arena because their hero power is just really good. And then they also have stuff like SI7 Agent, Backstab, which are just like early game, you just take control. And then, it's hard to lose control in Arena. And the same, it's like in Constructed, everyone has these built-in answers for stuff because, I can put in 2 swipes. In Arena, it's like, I hope I get 2 swipes. I really hope I get 2 of them. And so it's not necessarily that everyone's always going to have an answer. So if you can get that early advantage that Rogue can get, then it can snowball pretty easily. But let's talk about Constructed. All right, enough about Arena.
We're not going to talk about Arena. Now let's talk about Arena.
I know. I got caught up. I'm sorry.
It happens.
But Garrett, I didn't ask you. What's your favorite in Arena before we move on?
I don't really have a favorite. Probably Shaman.
Okay.
Shaman.
All right.
Shaman in both cases. I just dig them.
Cool. All right. So Constructed. This is where I think this is really interesting because right now there is a similar hatred for the Hunter class as there was once for Priest and for Rogue and for Mage and all that stuff. Like it's, as Blizzard moves the cards around and stuff like that, and nerfs and buffs and whatnot, the hatred moves. And right now it's currently the hatred is square on the Hunters. They are insanely hard to play against because there's a few reasons why they're really hard to play against. Your life is really valuable when you're playing against the Hunter, so classes that use weapons to clear minions suddenly have to fear doing that, and generally the creatures that you clear with a weapon have already hit your face once because they all have charge, so now
they're getting added
taking
value.
double damage.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit rough. You have to kind of alter your playstyle against the Hunter.
And then if that wasn't bad enough for weapons, your own minions are a liability. The more you load up the board, the more potential you're giving them for an Unleash the Hounds blowout.
Yeah, so normally if you can get like 6 dudes on the board, like you're stoked because you have so much board control. But against the Hunter, you don't want to do that. You're freaked out. Like a Shaman summoning a totem could mean that they die next turn, where if they didn't summon that totem, maybe they don't. And that's also a rough place to be. So it's a very, very weird class to play against. And I think one of the things that people are going to do in this coming season is play classes that work well against Hunter. So I think we're going to see a lot of Druid, which everything but Token Druid works really well against Hunter. Just because you play less cards and they're bigger and more powerful, the cards you do play. And of course, you can innervate out a giant card on like turn 5 or whatever.
And Hunter doesn't. I mean, they have Deadly Shot, which is technically hard removal, but you can't decide where it goes.
Yeah, and most hunters are not playing Deadly Shot. There is a control hunter out there that uses it, but what the modern hunter is doing is playing stuff like Hunter's Mark, and then like a boar or something, or a explosive trap to get rid of those
shot or etc.
Yeah, so that's how they get rid of the big threats and stuff like that. So still, because of that fact, Druid is really good against Hunter. It actually wins 58% of games against Hunter. So that's actually, I mean, a 60-40 split is a really big deal. And then you got Control War.
If you truly believe that, are you still going to hit the ground running with your Hunter deck tomorrow?
Yes, but the reason why I'm throwing in the Druid and the Warrior as my 2 backup classes is that I know at some point I'm going to start playing a bunch of Hunters, and I have those backups to switch to. But the Hunter is a really good matchup against everything else. And that's, I mean, when you're looking at having a good matchup against 7 out of the 9 classes, like that's a good deck to pick. So Hunter is over 50% against everything else. So, and in some cases 60%. The Shaman matchup for Hunter is insane. Hunter beats it 60% of the time because Shaman can't heal themselves, and they just get whittled away, and then they can't do anything about it. Plus, they have the totems, which are a liability, and yeah, so it's rough out there for every class except for Druid and Warrior to play against Hunter. But I think that being said, what this also points to this data is that while Shaman is terrible against Hunter, it's actually really good against the field. So that's actually a really good deck to pick as well. And I think since Trump's thing, we'll probably start to see a lot of Shaman on the ladder as well. The mid-range Shaman deck and the aggro bursty Shaman deck are both extremely viable, and I think they will be for quite some time.
Yeah, if we do another constructed coaching video, which we should actually do given what week it is.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd like to do a Shaman. I'd like to sit down with you and actually like really kind of net deck it and strategize and come up with a good deck.
Let's do it. I'm in.
All right, now find a night.
Okay. Now the last point I'm going to make though here is that undisputedly right now and probably for the foreseeable future, Warlock is the king of the ladder. And the reason being is that Warlock actually has 3 viable decks, whereas no other class really has. Like when you see a Hunter, you know what you're getting into, right? When you see a Druid, there's a couple of versions of Druid, but you kind of know what you're getting into, and you'll know like pretty soon what if it's going to be, Token, or if it's going to be, Watchers or whatever. Like you'll know pretty quick. But with Warlock, there's just 3 decks out there that are all good.
So you have Zoolock, you have Handlock. What's the third?
Murlocs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't consider that a deck. I consider that a cop-out.
Yeah, but it's played and it works well.
I know.
So, yeah.
It can't come up without one of us casting judgment upon everyone who plays it.
No, I judge the hell out of Murlocs. I still to this day have not played it and will not do it. I trolled Jocelyn once, and that was the end of my Murloc career. Yeah. Like I almost feel like I should just delete all Murloc cards so that they never happen when I do a random deck match, like so I don't accidentally get them. But I'm a collectionist, so I can't. But anyway, that's why I think Warlock is currently the best and will probably stay the best until something happens, until they change their hero power, basically. But it's really good to check these. Check out the stats that Hearthstats is putting out every month. I highly recommend everybody. It'll be in the show notes. And I posted it here in our chat for the live viewers. But check it out. And when you're laddering, it's probably a good idea to be paying attention to what you're going up against a lot of, because you'll see shifts as you go up the ladder. So like, oh my God, I've played nothing but Hunters for the last 5 games, it's time to switch to druid, and that would be a really smart thing for people to do and pay attention to this. So, strategy section for this week is basically when you start that ladder run, when you start trying to climb up that ladder, you really need to be paying attention to the meta that's around you at every given moment, and this is a really good tool to adjust to that.
Awesome.
So everyone go get our stats.
Yeah, or you don't have to get it. You don't have to keep your own stats, but this is the only tool we have right now. Is stuff like this. Like Blizzard's not putting those stats out for everybody to see, so this is where you go to find out. Otherwise, you're just kind of guessing, right?
Yeah.
Like I guess Shaman's good against this. I guess this is good against, and yeah, you probably have a decent sense of it, but this is like definitive proof. Like, okay, Priest does suck, you guys. Priest is terrible. So yeah.
No priest allowed.
Well, I respect everybody. Like when I see a priest on the ladder, I'm like, oh, who's this guy? I'm gonna take note of this name because this person is brave. And I've tried to do it too, and it's rough going out there.
So Jocelyn, as the resident casual player, how are you?
Filthy casual.
How are
Jocelyn.
you attacking?
I know.
I don't say it as a bad thing. Tomorrow, like, what is your game plan? Do you have a deck in mind, or what's your goal for the first true Hearthstone season?
This is just going to prove how dirty of a casual player I am. I'm going to play with the Hunter deck that Dill's helped me build because
it's not dirty.
I hate it so much. It feels so cheap.
I'm playing
it's like no
too.
card
cool.
except for my high main, and I only got one high main, but no card except for the high main that's above like 4 mana. It's all just like I have little dogs and I'm gonna throw them at your face.
I broke down. Honestly, I've been playing more Hunter than anything else recently too, and it got me out of that rank 16 slump. So you can't judge.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's why I feel so awful and dirty and wrong is because I play it and then I win and I go on these big streaks and I'm like, God damn it! But it's so cheesy. It's right up there with Murlocs.
No, I know that feeling. I understand, like where you're just like, I wasn't supposed to win that game. Like that guy played pretty good, but then I drew Leroy and Unleashed the Hounds, and I'm sorry, buddy.
See, at least I don't have Leroy, so I'm not going that far. But again, that is just purely because I don't have that legendary.
Then if you don't have Leroy, you don't know the power of the dark side.
Yeah, because Leroy plus
gives
Unleash
them.
is sick.
It's like, well, I could spawn 3 hounds, but I'd rather spawn 5 with a 6/2 on my side of the board.
Yeah, let's just do 11 damage right now, and I'll hero power, and I'll throw down a Timber Doggy, and yeah, you're dead.
Timber Doggy.
It's insane, like how much burst you can get out of that deck, and but whatever. Blizzard clearly doesn't have a problem with it, so it's sticking around. I do think though, like, what do you guys think if they were to do something about Hunter? Like, do you think that 3 mana would be like the sweet spot for Unleash the Hounds, or do you think that like 2 is okay? I mean, I know it relies on the other guy having creatures on the board, so it's hard to really make it.
But the part I have a hard time agreeing with that argument of, well, it depends on the other guy having minions on the board. That's the point of the freaking game.
Yeah,
like,
I know. But they're less likely to nerf cards that are dependent on something happening. Like they are definitely more like the thing with Nat Peggle is like Nat Peggle pops out there and it does what it does. You know what I mean? And that card, no matter what's going on in the game, was always going to be pretty good. And Pyroblast, like no matter what's going on in the game, doing 10 damage with 1 card was always really good, right? So those kind of cards are the ones that get nerfed. Like, I mean, I even feel like at this point, Mind Control didn't really need the nerf, or they could come back on that one because, again, like that's one you could play around. That's one that was dependent. If I didn't put Rag out there, you couldn't Mind Control it, right? So,
right. I still that's an argument I think holds a little more sway because I'm just like, well, it's the same point. I want to play my 8/8 and at least enjoy it for a turn or two.
Yeah, yeah. It's not fun to like not play cards.
Yeah,
and that is the thing about Hunter that's a little weird. Like, it's not fun to be a shaman and then be like, oh man, I can't totem right now because if I totem, I'm going to lose. but
right.
I have 2 mana and I'm a shaman. Like, how come I can't do my shaman thing, which is calling totems? So that you know, if Blizzard's all about the fun, it might be something like that they need to take a look at, because it isn't fun to not play your cards. So.
Right.
But they've already, what is this, the 3rd iteration of Unleash the Hounds? Like, I mean, can they really change it again? Like, they've been just smacking this card in the face, and then everyone always says like, "Oh, Unleash the Hounds is unplayable now," and then like 2 weeks later, everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's the best card ever!" So it seems like no matter what they do,
yeah, it brought Hunter back in line for sure, because Hunter was not good, and so making that Unleash 2 mana really did bring Hunter back, and it's back in a big way. But it is a little bit crazy to me that for 4 mana I can play, 5 doggies, a 2/1, and draw 5 cards. Like, that's just that's crazy, right? For 4 mana to do all that, and that happens like almost every time I play my Hunter deck. It's like it's really sick. So maybe it's Buzzard that needs to get changed. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're also, I mean, if we're looking at these stats, which we have been, they're barely above 50% win rate. So it's not. I think what needs to happen.
They're not crazy.
Is like Priest, and I hesitate to say this. Maybe even Mage need to become a little better.
Yeah. I'm curious to know like what they would do to Priest to make it better. I feel like the problem really is like the class cards around. Like, there's a couple of decent early game ones. You got your
Northshire Cleric.
You got your Cleric, you got your Smite, but then you don't have anything really good for a really long time. Everything that costs like 2 mana or whatever is like really stupid, like Healing Wells and friggin' Inner Fires and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, all that stuff is just too gimmicky to be good. And so then your next good cards are all the way up at 6 mana, and you've got 2 really good cards, both sitting on 6 mana. You can't really include both of them.
You're skipping over Ashanai Soul Priest.
Okay, Akanai Soul Priest. But again, what I think the class cards should be in that 5 mana slot, because that's where it's hard to get a good neutral card, right? And that's why I think Druid has such a leg up, because they've got a really good card in the 5 slot, whereas all the neutrals aren't really that great. So you chuck that guy in there, and it like fills out your deck really nicely. And then your 6 mana cards are not nearly as good as like Fire Elemental for Shaman. So it's it's a little rough. Like they kind of have this little bit of a gap there, and they just need to close that gap, I think. Like, if they made what's the 6/6 that gives 3 health? I can't remember the name of it right now. Temple Enforcer. If they made Temple Enforcer 5 mana, and it was like a 5.
We don't even have to talk.
Yeah.
What's that thing? Oh yeah, never mind.
Oh yeah, I didn't play all the
Dills could just have a inner monologue. Just
one-man show.
But if they made that 5 mana and a 5/5, and still with the +3, like that would probably help quite a bit.
A portion of it too comes to their. Although you could argue the same thing for Warrior, their hero power affects the board in no way, shape, or form.
Sure. In the early on, the hero power there's a lot of times where it can do nothing. Like, if you have no turn 2 play, it's a common thing for Priest to heal the opponent, and then like the other guy.
It's like tipping your hat as you pass them in the hallway. Like,
and that's really bad, because at least like if you're a hunter and you have no turn 2 play, I could do 2 damage to you. Like even. So.
Right, exactly, and even when you can do something with it, I mean, healing yourself for 2, generally considered not the best thing in the world. You just
early on.
If you're losing, it's not helping you win. You're losing slower.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but we'll see. We'll see what they do. I'm expecting action to be taken at some point.
Yeah.
Of course, the adventure mode cards could make a difference. We don't know what those are going to be, so we'll see.
Yep. At a certain point, we just need more cards added, I think.
Yeah, totally.
There comes a point. It's hard because you look at when you're trying to look at Hearthstone with the big picture, and you're taking other games into account. Most of the other games we're taking into account are classic on paper cards where they can't even where balance isn't even an option.
Yeah,
no one's
ban it.
Yeah,
ban it or don't ban it.
No one's gonna knock on your door and say, "Excuse me, sir, give me that card." Okay, here's the reprint. Thank you. It's not gonna happen. So it's you got to decide, like, is that even an argument you have? Do you have to just say, okay, no, this is just the way it is. We're gonna move on to new cards now.
Mm-hmm.
and add more to the system to make the game more interesting, as opposed to tweaking the ones that currently exist.
Yeah. I know people are still new to this game, but we've been playing for quite some time now, and I really feel like I'm ready for new cards. Like, I'm so ready for new cards.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a discussion I'd love to have with another dev from Team 5 at some point in the future.
Oh yeah, we got to do that. We got to get them on. We got to pick their brains.
Do it. So, anyways, some food for thought. Shall we move on to crazy game stories?
Let's do it.
All right.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
Crazy game stories. Sometimes we have them, you have them, and you can send them to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our first crazy game story this week comes to us from Jeff, who has a crazy story about Harrison Jones. He writes, after listening to the podcast on Monday, the discussion came up about Harrison Jones and his appearance in more and more decks. I had not given it much thought until I actually pulled one in a pack later that day. Well, that's timing. Just on Dill's conversation, I inserted it into the rogue deck I'm using to level. Here's the story. He said, I was playing Warriors straight up, back and forth through turns 1 through 6. On turn 7, I drew Harrison Jones. I had Azure Drake and Yeti on the board, and on his turn 8, he played Gorehowl, and so got my Drake. On my turn 8, I played Harrison Jones and refreshed my daggers after going to the face with daggers and Yeti. Gorehowl only has 1 durability, so I drew a single card. Sap. On his turn 9, he dropped a Sunwalker. On my turn 9, I was low on cards, so I took a chance to use the Sap card from Harrison Jones to return Sunwalker and use Sprint to draw 4 cards. Of the 4 cards, I pulled Black Knight and Big Game Hunter.
Oh, man.
Wow. Jeez. Again, I went to the face with Yeti and daggers. My opponent on his turn 10 replays the Sunwalker and ends with 4 mana. I play my Black Knight, destroying his Sunwalker, and decide to use the combo to play Perdition's Blade, so another 2 points to his face, and finish with poisons to my daggers and again to the face before ending turn. On his turn 11, he drops Ragnaros, this poor guy, on the board, and again ends turn. Rag takes out Black Knight. On my turn 11, I play Big Game Hunter, and before I can make another move, my warrior opponent conceded. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. That would have been a, pound the desk and scream an obscenity moment.
Table flip, but
table flip.
What I'm curious about in this story, though, is that he played his Sunwalker on turn 10 and then didn't armor up. He said he ended the turn with 4 mana. Why didn't he armor up? I guess he was getting ready for a Molten Giant or Mortal Strike or something. But anyway,
that is possible.
Yeah,
we don't know. That is strange.
I couldn't not catch that. I was like, hold on a second. Why wouldn't you hero ability?
Why wouldn't you hero ability?
But yeah, so that basically what Harrison Jones did for him was get that 1 extra card that got him to all the other cards he needed. So that's what Harrison Jones does, and Harrison Jones loves to put Gorehowls into museums. Man, he loves it. So
belongs in a museum.
Yeah, and I think Harrison's going to stick around for a moment here because the like we said, the bottom 2 classes are Priest and Mage, and everything else except for Druid is using weapons. So
yep,
so he fits.
So, Jocelyn, you want to take the next one?
Sure. This one comes to us from Stavmar.
Stavmar!
You're going to make me say this, aren't you?
That's my man.
You did this on purpose.
Come on, Jocelyn.
But it goes just completely against my nice Canadian political correctness. Hello, 2 queers and a Canadian.
Yes! You didn't even say hi to Garrett. Everybody who listens to the show knows that I'm 2 queers. Garrett is a straight guy, and Jocelyn's Canadian.
You're so queer, you count as 2. I'm not going into this. It's a reference from last week. We do not condone this language. And this guy's actually a nice guy. He's just making a reference to last week. I thought it was funny.
We're joking about stuff that happened in our chat last week.
Yep.
Hold your email.
It's the best email when we have to apologize for it before even starting the first sentence. Continue on.
So you guys always talk about Lord Jaraxxus being imbalanced?
Yes.
Yes.
We don't Which, by the way, we don't say it's imbalanced. We say it just drastically changes the way you play Warlock once you have it.
Yeah, no, it's a really good card, but it's definitely not like unbeatable. It's not. It doesn't need a nerf.
So today I defeated Lord Draxus with a modified basic Trump Chamois deck in casual mode. I had 2 totems on the board and 1 Yeti buffed by Argus, with Argus still on the board. In my hand I had 2 hexes. The lock pulled Draxus and thought it was easy peasy, but then the madness began.
Madness.
The madness. I hexed his first 2 Infernals, and while doing significant damage to his red body, does he have a red body? I've never paid that much attention, or is this like...
I don't know.
Draxus is red.
That one, yeah.
Okay.
He's the he's the
like, this is a very odd reference.
He's the Eridar Lord of the Burning Legion. Come on, he has red skin.
Okay.
No, yeah, okay, sorry. Anyways, then I was able to lightning bolt him buffed with an air totem and 1 more tap with Argus. Our final round, I had Draxus down to 3 life from 15. I had only 2 totems and no attack power on the board and no cards in hand. Then I top decked a flame tongue totem. That's actually kind of hard to say for some reason. I quickly said for my 5-year-old son to come watch so he could hear Draxus perish by way of a healing totem and then by the wrath of the air totem. My son went nuts when he heard Draxus' voice as he died and could not stop laughing. He had never heard it before, and I rarely have a chance to defeat Draxus, so it's a classic moment. Love the show, longtime follower and tweeter. This is my first crazy game story, and apparently he met you guys at BlizzCon at the AIE Guild Hall.
That's awesome. I do remember that, actually.
I'm sure we'll meet sometime at face-to-face as well. Because I'm going to go to BlizzCon. Yay!
Huzzah! They need to announce this year's if it's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I need to plan.
I've already booked my vacation, so I really hope it's happening.
Ooh. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just going to have random time off in November. Oh,
yeah,
dude,
what if they announce it but they change the date? You're screwed.
Oh, well, then I'll just ask my boss for a favor.
It's gonna happen anyway. We're gonna just we're gonna fly up to Canada, like kidnap you, and then take you to Anaheim.
Yeah.
And go from there. That's a great story. My favorite part about this is just that his son was so jacked about hearing Draxus die.
Yeah.
It is really satisfying when you kill Draxus, just because it's clearly painful for him to go down.
Yep. As a matter of fact, he intros Crazy Game Stories. So
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. So, thank you for your emails. We'll speaking of which, let's get right into emails.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
Emails, same place. Send them to tacpodcast@gmail.com. Jocelyn, you want to take the first email?
I sure do, because apparently I am resident PSA person.
Yes, we have a PSA this week.
We do. This one comes to us from Cameron, who says, "Greetings, head cluckers. Remember the hooligans in chat in the most recent live show?
Oh, well, do I
called
ever.
them. Do you remember? Are you sure? Well, I called them douchebags in chat, and I think they took it exactly the way I meant it. Unfortunately, I was foolish enough not to realize that they'd want to do something about it. So a few moments ago, I was streaming my perennially underwatched Twitch channel. When someone popped in and started talking, I was too excited to think rationally. I clicked their bit.ly link, which was supposed to send me to a deck they wanted opinions on, and instead I gave them all the info they needed to take my internet down. He proceeded to send us a screenshot of his Twitch chat, which makes me very, very sad because this guy is a really big jerk, which is why I put the screenshot into the actual show notes, because I want everyone to see him and know that he's a big jerk.
Are we putting out a hit on Mark with a C_Davis? Is that what you're saying? If anyone listening, anyone listening to the show happens to dabble in nefarious internet activities, have fun with Twitch user Mark with the C_Davis.
I'm sure that this person threw this account away already.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the PSA is that there was no great harm except for he had an arena loss and some self-recrimination, but I was thinking it might be good to get the word out to whoever else might stream, and any links from URL shorteners should be regarded with caution and run through URL uncoverpro.com to be checked. I would just not click on links in Twitch chat, but
I pretty much don't. If I recommend anybody out there use like a MooBot or a Nightbot or something like that, and just anytime somebody puts in a link, it just immediately deletes it because people do try to go and spam people's Twitch chats. And then you can give people permission to put links in.
Right.
So yeah, and if it's not like an injure or something like is always going to be okay, like just don't click it because people like to DDoS each other, and I don't know, it's stupid. But anyway,
some people be careful out there, streamers.
Poor guy. The internet is a scary place, you guys.
It is. It is.
I really got
that comes to us from Infinubi, who is often in our chat. I don't think he's here tonight, but
I think I have to stop holding up my credit card to the webcam every time I stream.
You really shouldn't do that.
I don't know why people just
bad ideas.
So many issues of Penthouse I didn't order.
Sure.
Next email comes to us from Mike, who says, "Hey, chicken and roosters."
All right.
Which is actually awesome.
Yeah. I got my packs from the D3 collectors and pulled a gold, legendary, and multiple epics. Thinking back, the only time I've gotten super amazing packs is when I bought them with real money or they were promo/rewards. Have you noticed this? Is there a higher chance for a real money pack to give better cards than a gold bot one? Thanks, Mike. P.S. The gold legendary is Mukla.
No.
Just
all
no.
packs are created equal.
No, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I hadn't claimed mine yet, and I specifically went to claim them to see if I could refute Mike, and it was all crap except I pulled an Alexstrasza in my very last pack.
Oh,
which ironically was the most recent legendary I spent 1600 dust on. So I was like, oh,
you got trolled.
Joy.
Man. That sucks.
Yeah. So I got literally nothing in my D3 packs. I got 3 rares, and that was it. And that's because there's 3 packs, and you have to get rares.
You got the minimum.
Everything else was common and pirates and murlocs.
So
I'm
long.
Not kidding.
And thanks for all the dust.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, this is not, in fact, true.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So,
but grats on the gold Mukla. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. I'll take a legendary of my choice any day.
Sure.
Or all the gold bananas.
Yeah, Mukla's pretty cool. Yeah. Although you give the gold bananas away.
Yeah, you give them away. Yeah, that's true.
I want them. I want the gold bananas.
So then, if you've got
so
card with a gold banana, then does the card become gold? Because that would be awesome.
I don't believe so.
I doubt it. Yeah,
but the cool thing is, you have so much swag, man. You're just throwing swag into your opponent's hand.
That's true. You take some of my swag, dude. I got too much.
Dills, would you like to take the final email for this week?
Sure. From Rakamar, he says, "Hey, angry roosters and chicken." So I guess this is a new thing.
Wow. 2 in a row. I didn't even notice this when I was writing the notes today. Well done. Well played.
This weekend, I finally got around to building the Miracle Rogue deck. Oh, this is an interesting email. I read this and actually did the reading, too.
That's why I put it in. I was like, Dills will like this.
Yeah. So, okay. Building the Miracle Rogue deck. This was my first journey into competitive constructed Hearthstone. Been playing for free since open beta, so I've been sticking with Arena and doing quite well. Averaging around 5 per arena. I'm a veteran Magic player and no stranger to combo decks. In particular, Modern Eggs when the deck was legal, if that means anything to anybody. So I felt like I would love Miracle Rogue, and guess what? I love it. My question, my pet Magic deck Modern Eggs was banned in Magic tournaments for a number of reasons, including being perceived as uninteractive, being extremely powerful, many players not enjoying playing against the deck, and the actual cited reason it made tournaments take too long. Do you believe Miracle Rogue suffers from any of the same problems? And if so, do you think there's any chance of Blizzard nerfing this deck? Thanks for the podcast. Love your work. Keep it up.
I love this email because it made me do research.
Yeah. No, I mean, he brings up a good point because if you looked up what Modern Eggs did, it's pretty similar to what Miracle Rogue does, which is basically like cycle through your deck like insanely. And in a Magic tournament, so I mean, Gary, I assume you read all this stuff too. Maybe did you already know about this deck?
I did not. Aware? I did not already know about this deck. I knew about. Okay. You know, obviously, I know to a point about how some tournaments are run, and the issue with it taking too long is that in tournaments like Grand Prix, which are the big ones, when you reach the end of your allotted time, because the tournament has to move along, so they're timed chunks of play time. You get through your games.
It's like a chess timer, right? Like you hit it when you're done with your turn.
No. You like round. Okay, you've got, for example, 45 minutes to play a best of 3. Go.
Okay.
When that 45 minutes is up, they say, okay, take 5 turns and end.
All right.
So regardless, like I forget exactly how they decided winner. I think it comes down to life points. So the issue with this was with this particular deck, it was causing 15-minute plus single player turns.
But player, in Magic, you're moving the cards around with your hands and
exactly
draw a bunch and do a bunch of weird things to it. Like it takes a long time.
So if you can imagine, the end of the round warning, take 5 more turns and then end the game. That's usually not a problem. Okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But if all of those 5 turns are taking 15 minutes each, that is dramatically increasing the amount of time it takes for the tournament to run.
Yeah.
Hearthstone does it for you.
Well, in a tournament currently, though, there's no limit on your timer because you have to play like friendly games.
Yes.
However, even then, it still doesn't take nearly that much time. Like in Hearthstone tournaments, the longest turns happen because people are just thinking a lot. Like it's not because the actual mechanics are really tricky.
Exactly. So that's the two things you have to look at. The one that it'll probably never take this long because the game does the majority. It cycles for you. It shuffles the deck for you. It performs all of the rules.
Yeah.
For you. A large part of Magic is like, okay, I do this, and then that happens, and then that happens, and it's really interesting.
I read some of these cards, like in this story, I was reading these cards, it's like, Jesus, man, this would take me too long just to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do next.
Well, that's what's really fun about watching Pro Magic, because everyone who's at that level they know what's going on, so it's like grunts and a weird series of hand gestures, and everything just happens.
Like, I think something, did he win, or what happened? Yeah, it's tough
very
when you
hard,
don't understand.
It's very hard to spectate Magic.
Yeah, that's why I think Hearthstone has a big leg up on any card game because it's really entertaining just to look at. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like Magic Online is really tough to watch because there's so much text on the cards. It's hard to read them. The interface is really clunky. It just looks bad.
The interface is terrible.
Yeah, so
it is so
but
bad.
anyway, the deck that he's speaking of, the Miracle Rogue deck, already has been nerfed, and it will not be nerfed again, I don't think, because it's actually really tricky to go off. You rely on getting your auctioneers. If you don't get your auctioneers, you're basically screwed. So it's not overpowered. It was overpowered back when Shiv was 1 mana and Conceal was 0 mana and all that stuff. So it did used to be OP, and I used to call it the OP Rogue deck or whatever. And I played it. That was like the first deck I created. But nowadays, it's all those cards have been nerfed to a point where they're while it's still fine, it's viable. And it's actually right now the more popular Rogue deck on the ladder is Miracle compared to Tempo or Aggro.
Right.
It's still really not an OP deck, and it's not going to be nerfed any more than it already has been. So have fun with it, man. It's a tough deck to play because you got a lot of things to think about. But it's quite enjoyable when it actually works. Like when it goes off, it's insane.
Even when I'm playing Miracle Rogue deck, at no point am I thinking, man, this is a slow deck.
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap, I have no more cards, and it's turn 8.
Yeah. But if you've gotten through your entire deck, you've won the game, because that means you've gotten to your Leroy Coldblood Shadow Step Leroy Coldblood craziness, like, which is insane. So
right.
Yeah, sounds like he found the deck for him though, so that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm glad that there's decks like that do kind of exist in Hearthstone. You can do kind of weird stuff like that aren't necessarily one turn kill, but they're outside of the norm.
Yeah, absolutely. Ragamar, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about it.
Yep, have fun, dude.
Yep,
go.
It seems fairly balanced. Things are going well. It can be countered.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not a time issue unless you're just sitting there being a jerk. So, very cool. Well, I think we have a few minutes for questions from the chat room to carry on from last week. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we got a little bit of time.
All right, chat room. We'll do a little Q&A. Come at us, bros.
If you have a question.
And now
they
we
might
wait
not all
for the
be
lag.
bros. Although I'm not gonna call them hoes. Damn it.
Whoa. You just went there, Jocelyn. There's no need for that.
Hostess
Why are you surprised?
I'm surprised they were saying roosters and chicken. Shouldn't they be saying roosters and hen? Because like a chicken can be a man or a woman, right?
That's true. Maybe they're not quite sure about me, at which point, woman. Just clearing that up.
Question: did I offer Dill's Giants tickets Saturday night? No, I don't think you did. Did you?
Is that really the first question?
That's the first question.
Good God.
Hopefully it's not raining. By the way, Sparky, don't spoil what's going on in the game. I'm recording it. All right.
What is the secret to drafting an arena? There is a loaded question.
Okay.
Man.
The secret is pick really good cards.
There's a lot of really good articles out there on card evaluation.
Yeah.
Look them up.
I mean, it's okay. I'll say this though. I can give out this piece of advice because we've talked about it on the show before, and I really think the secret is have lots of 2-drops. If you can have 5 or 6 2-drops, then you should be okay. If you draft and you're like, okay, I'm always going to get the best card, then what ends up happening sometimes is you end up with like a bunch of late game cards and you just get snowballed. So, recognize what I will take a Knife Juggalo over a Yeti. Well, that never happens because the one's rare and one's not. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. Like, even though technically I would say the Yeti is a better card, I will take the 2-drop sometimes over what would be a better card just so I have the requisite number of 2-drops. And that's really important.
Boil it down to curve. Make sure you have a good curve.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have a lot of control over your deck in Arena. One of the things you can help at least sculpt and try to control is your curve.
Yeah, you want to be the one snowballing the game, not the one getting snowballed, if that makes sense. That sounds dirty.
How does that sound dirty? Where is your mind today?
I don't know. I'm sorry, you guys.
What's dirty about snowballs unless you're peeing on them?
All right, well, next question.
Do you think we're going to see a buff to priests on Wednesday?
No. When we've in the past, when there's been any changes to the balance of the game, there's been a preview the week preceding it. Yeah. Also, why Wednesday? Patch is coming on Tuesdays.
Well,
they also said that they weren't going to make any more significant card changes now that the game
with the caveat of unless absolutely necessary.
Well,
which means there's it could still happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Intuition on adventure mode. I think we're several months away from that.
I think they just want you to say tomorrow so that it comes out sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely coming out tomorrow, you guys. Oh, I'm so excited.
Considering the game has only been officially live for 2 weeks, and the first quote unquote real season is starting tomorrow, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I stick by 2 months. I think 2 months. We'll have 2 full seasons, and then adventure mode will hit.
None of us work for Blizzard. We don't have insider information most of the time.
But if Blizzard's looking for somebody who could tell them how to balance cards, just saying.
If you want to, yeah. Or they were just thinking...
I was falling asleep on stream. Gee, can we never talk about that ever again, everybody?
I'm pretty sure that we should talk about it because you totally stood me up for our gaming fun night and then proceeded to stream Hearthstone until you fell asleep.
Do you realize, though, that I didn't start streaming until about 2 a.m. or something? Or no, I started at like 12:30, and that was because my computer would not turn on because I didn't have power source. So I did not stand you up. My computer crapped out on me. I believe I've actually fixed it. I mean, right now I'm smooth sailing. I've got I did a lot of what I can do, what IT knowledge I do have. I applied to my computer, and it seems to be working okay now. So, but yeah, I fell asleep in the chair. I get it. I lost the game of Arena because I fell asleep in the middle of it, and I slept in my chair until 6 a.m. At which point I woke up and there was somebody still in my chat.
That is really awesome.
That's a little creepy. What I was trying to say was that we don't work for Blizzard, so I can't necessarily put words in their mouth. But I would, the way I see it, I think in their eyes the game is just now officially going. So I don't think we're going to see new cards or adventure mode for a little while.
I think though when the iPad actually hits, that's when we're going to start seeing commercials on TV and stuff. That's when
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that.
It's going to be out there.
Are we gonna see commercials though?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think Hearthstone's a big moneymaker potentially for Blizzard, and there's a lot of people.
So are other free-to-play games like Dota and League of Legends, and I don't see commercials for those.
Well, but yeah, those are different companies. Like Blizzard already has commercials for like WoW and stuff.
Yeah,
out
they're really short-lived usually though. They're just like preceding their launch. Like there were Reapers of Souls commercials, and I saw them, and now it came out. And now I don't see them anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what we'll get a little, we'll get like a little push, and then like because I see commercials for friggin' Clash of Clans on TV.
Oh, I see those all the time, and I'm just like, what? Yeah. Who's playing this?
And that's the similar. I mean, that's a freemium game. It's free, but you could buy the stupid crystals or whatever. And
yeah.
So I think we will see some commercials. There already is one. It's just on Twitch only. So.
Gotcha. So.
What else they got here?
Very cool.
There's something else I saw. After taking your advice and ditching my second Wind Warrior deck, I built the control deck. However, missing Baron Geddon. What's a good replacement? Ooh. Just another big beefy dude. Honestly, you could do something like so if you got like Alex Strauss or you could put like an ogre or something in there. I mean, really, it's just another big dude.
Yeah. If you couldn't play Hearthstone, Diablo Heroes, pick your poison. Heroes.
Ooh, really?
Yep.
I gotta pick only one. Yeah, Heroes.
Hands down. It's so much fun.
I like to play other people, and Diablo, while it does have that whatever that brawling thing is, I never do. It's not the same.
That brawling thing that nobody does. Clarify, Dills. Clarify.
Yeah. All right, I think that's it.
I think that'll about do it. You streaming tonight, Dills?
No.
We know that one's coming.
Okay. I just figured I'd head it off at the pass.
Yeah. But I might I don't think we're actually doing a podcast because we did one yesterday. We actually did a live torture cast yesterday.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I might just play some Heroes.
Sweet.
Instead. Yeah.
Rock the Heroes.
Mm-hmm. Who would I pick for the 2014 World Series? The Giants.
Of course you would.
Who would you realistically pick?
Giants.
The Yankees, because it's Jeter's last season.
No, the Giants.
Aw, damn.
They're going to win it all.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As always, want to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. You guys are just awesome for supporting the Angry Chicken. We're up to 270 a month, or just shy of 270, inching towards that 1,000 per month goal of starting our monthly Hearthstone Google Hangouts. You can become an Angry Chicken patron by going to patreon.com/TAC.
Patron.
Why would you make patron become a patron? This week, we'd like to thank Drusterius, Julio A., Tom Merritt, calling you out by your full name, and Scott Johnson. I wonder if they knew they were backing the show back-to-back, because this is an order of people backing the show. I thought it was very funny that Tom and Scott backed the show back-to-back. And
this was amazing.
This was a notch on my podcast moments.
A notch on your belt.
I was just like, oh my god, Tom and Scott backed my show.
Yep.
And Brian K, thank you all very much for supporting us. It means a lot. And if you left us a review in iTunes, we'd like to thank you as well. So thanks from the U.S. store to Time Twister, Jellico, and Mike Romo. Thank you guys very much for your reviews of our show. We appreciate it.
And I failed this week. Sorry, Canada.
Aw, you failed your entire.
Failed or did Canada fail?
No, it was me. I forgot to look.
You failed an entire country, Jocelyn. How does that feel?
You'll have to. Yeah, it'll be extra thanks next week, though.
Jeez. As always, The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv and the Frog Pants Studios. You can see more about The Angry Chicken and all of the other amove shows at amove.tv. Also, make sure to check out all of the shows on frogpants.com as well. Our email is tacpodcast@gmail.com, and you can talk over on the forum as well at forum.amove.tv. Dills, have you gotten in there and started chatting like you said you were going to?
Yeah, I've gotten in there, but I haven't started chatting.
Okay.
Sorry. I've just been lurking.
Chatting.
I've been lurking.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm a lurker.
Get in there and lurk,
I did
in there and
notice
post.
The Angry Chicken is clearly the most active forum, which is really cool.
It is.
Just by a hair.
Just by a feather.
There's a really good community over there, and I mean, I jumped in because I was thinking, oh, I'm going to answer all these questions, and then it was like, oh my god, everyone's just answering each other's questions, and there's a whole lot of really nice people there, great information. Like, yeah, you guys should go check it out. if we don't have the time or haven't answered your question, check the forums because there's tons of people there to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. You can catch us live every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/AmuTV, which I'm going to give just our Twitch page a little extra pimp this week because we've been streaming a lot of Heroes, and if you're interested in seeing us all playing together and yucking it up, except for Jocelyn, you can do so at twitch.tv/AmuTV. So follow that channel and you won't miss it when we go live. Our mobile stream is provided by alphageekradio.com, which you can get by going to mobile.alphageekradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast. I can be found at Garrett Art. Dills is at Willie Dills, and Jocelyn is at GIS Gamer. Also, big thanks to our musician, Brian Griffith, who did the intro music for The Angry Chicken. His website is briangriffithmusic.com. And my final personal pimpage would be my website, nomoonart.com. It's my graphic design portfolio. Go check it out. See if you need some freelance done. Dills, where can people find you when you're not being an angry rooster?
You can check out the Instance every Friday. We missed the show last week due to busy stuff, I guess. And so we'll be back with a vengeance on Friday, talking about World of Warcraft. Torturecast is now in full effect. We just did our season preview episode live from the ballpark. We were actually at there's like a bar called the Public House bar restaurant there. So went and had a few cocktails and talked about the Giants. So check that out, torturecast.com. And NGA season is also in full swing. If you're a mediocre golfer, that is definitely a place to go. And if you want to watch me sleep peacefully, you can go to twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. And I stream way too late for my own good.
That is the creepiest thing I've ever heard anyone say to do. You want to watch me sleep? You can...
Well, that's what happened the other night.
Head over to my live cam.
Am I the creepy one here, or because
you weren't, but now you are.
Oh, yeah. I see.
Congratulations.
Cool. I wrestled the creepiness away. Got it.
Jocelyn, how about you?
I am right here on AMove TV.
That's not what I was asking. Where can we see you sleeping?
Oh, I don't actually have a sleep cam.
Okay, Garrett, now you just got the creepiness back from me. So
I was feeling left out.
Good on you.
I was feeling left out.
So can I keep going?
Yes, please.
I don't even know if I can come back from that. Actually.
Please keep going.
Gamers In Friday nights we do stuff. Thursday nights we stream games.
I
Also
feel like,
Doghouse Network.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of ESO talk on this week's Gamers In.
Yeah, there is.
How
actually.
is it so far? Initial impressions. What do you think?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's everything I wanted it to be. No lag, no server issues.
Hell yeah. Okay. Smooth launch is always good for an MMO.
That seems incorrect to me. I don't know.
What? Does it seem incorrect?
It being awesome seems incorrect to me. I have low hopes for that game.
Oh, I didn't enjoy it either, but I'm trying to let Jocelyn have her moment since I've constantly told her how much I don't really care for it, and she's really excited about it, and I don't feel like crapping on her dreams.
Well, I am a World of Warcraft fanboy, as I get called in my on our
it is a completely different experience
Dills,
than WoW.
You and I were really excited about and got really into an MMO that didn't go very far.
That's very true. Yeah, that is
we
very
did a show
true.
about it.
Yeah, I did a whole podcast about it, a whole 30 episodes. By the way, it's still in the top 200 of gaming podcasts.
Somehow. I don't know.
Why? Who is downloading that show?
I don't know how iTunes works sometimes. I don't get it. I'm not going to argue because this show does well on iTunes, but I don't get it sometimes.
Yeah, I don't understand. Whoever's out there, stop downloading that show. There's no relevant information coming out on the Torcast right now.
It's I just really like hearing Dills say a Star Wars quote at the beginning of every episode.
I guess. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me.
No good. Please check out our sponsors, doghousesystems.com. The code to use is TAC. It'll get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig, as well as support the Angry Chicken every time that code is used. And our t-shirts, our Angry Chicken t-shirts, are available over at slashloot.com. I also hear tale of a special Angry Chicken edition of a Doghouse Systems rig happening in the near future. Stay tuned to doghousesystems.com for that.
I want.
I bet you do. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everyone. We will see you next week for episode 26. But until then, job's done.
Job's done. Come on.
Oh, I thought I'd get Dill to say it again because that was awesome. Job's done.
Yes.
Because of nerds.
No. I need the real deal this time, Jocelyn. The real deal.
That made me actually laugh on the bus, and everybody looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah. Only when you're not here will I do that. So I will do that every time you're not here, though.